Jessica, call back.
She liked my message.
She liked the message.
All right, I'm gonna get started. The Clear Creek School District Board of Education Business Meeting, it is 6 o'clock, June 10th, 2025. Call this to order, please.
Flanagan.
Here.
Haig.
Here.
King.
Here.
McHugh.
Here.
North.
I would like to make an amendment to the agenda. I would like to add item D5, the Long Range Planning Commission Resolution 2025-007 under board business.
Is there a second? I'll second.
Flanagan.
Yes.
Haig.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
McHugh.
Yes.
North.
Yes.
Okay, we'll start off with the Board of Education updates.
Well, my update this month will be quite brief because I think we all did the same things together primarily, which was some superintendent interviews, community engagement, and then of course, last day of school activities. And I will give a special shout out to Lorraine Swartz. I went to last day of school at Carlson and could watch their year-end video. It got super dusty in that commons area during that video and my eyes started leaking. So thankfully I saw a couple of other kids who had the same dusty experience. Allergies probably really kicking up. But it was a tremendous video and I could not help but really feel so much pride about that building and the work that this community did to provide our kids and our community with such an exceptional space that is just filled with so much joy. So thank you to Lorraine for everything that she has done there, and I really enjoyed watching that, and I'm sad to have missed graduation. Congratulations, Marcy and Jessica, and I think that's all I've got. Thank you.
All right, in addition to superintendent interviews, I also attended the senior recognition night, which was great, and graduation. And then last Monday, we had our quarterly BOCES board meeting. And so just something to kind of bring forward, Tom and Jessica may be bringing forward a new policy from CDE around abbreviated school days for students on IEPs and 504s. This was a rather sudden addition to required policies to be approved by the school board. So after the school board approves it, then the BOCES will need to approve it as well. The CDE would put this in place for the 25-26 school year, so it will be something that needs to happen pretty quickly once the school year starts. And basically the policy seeks to clarify how and when abbreviated school day schedules can be implemented so as to be in compliance with IDEA Section 504 and ECEA. So some celebrations, we had 34 students across the whole BOCES. Keep in mind that that's Clear Creek, Gilpin, and Platte Canyon that were staffed out of SPED, which essentially means that they had enough improvement to be moved out of the IEP or 504 program, which is great.
That's great.
Back into gym. We have a new speech language pathologist for CCSD, Erin Bonthrin. And we have a new 0.5 FTE school psychologist here, Mary Lukes. And then Dr. Jones has an interview this week to find a replacement for Jenny Murray's position.
And they did find someone.
Oh, great. I didn't want to announce that person's name. I knew that she was there. No, they actually hired her or not. So great. That's all I have.
I also attended senior recognition night and graduation when my daughter graduated. And I also attended the second enrollment task force committee meeting. I missed the first one. It was a really good turnout, tons of interest, and it's super well organized. It was the big group meeting, and now after that, there's breakout groups for engagement, marketing, and data. And so each person chose, where they thought they would fit best, and some are on multiple of those. And so the next full meeting is June 24th. In the meantime, these breakout groups are supposed to be meeting with each group, marketing, engagement, and data. And there's also Clear Creek alumni there that's going to help do some marketing videos and stuff. So I think it's pretty exciting what I think is going to be coming out of it. So
That was great.
that's it.
For my updates, all the superintendent things, I get phone calls on the task force and I just give information that I have. So you guys can keep calling me on whatever that is. That's about it for me. Jessica?
So I just want to thank all of my fellow board members for all of the time that they gave for the superintendent work. I attended senior recognition, graduation, all of those things as a senior parent, DAC, the enrollment task force committees, but I'm just so excited to see the community engagement. So thank you for all of the great work and have a great summer.
Okay, so then we're moving on to superintendent update.
I just have a few things there, and actually Marcy and briefly too. Enrollment task force up and going well from my understanding. I've talked to Tom multiple times. I haven't talked to him in over a week now. I actually emailed him today, but it sounds like it's going very well. Thanks for your participation in it. Transportation, put in notes there, say a bus and a Tahoe. We have a bus with 250,000 miles. It needs a pump. It needs an injector pump. That way, roughly $5,000. There's someone willing to pay us $5,500 for it. Same person that bought the last Bluebird. So we're planning on moving forward with that. Just so you're aware, this is not a bus that we've been using. It's on its last leg. It's not worth us fixing it and taking a chance on it. And then we have a Tahoe there too that has 340,000 miles. Use it. One of the drivers uses it to go back and forth from one building to another to pick up a bus. That way, we had that van that was in the accident 3 months ago. It has a salvage title. We can't put kids in it. We can still use it for a driver to drive and things like that. So we're just gonna swap that out. Brooke has been integral in designing that and seems like the best route to take at this time. We'll be very honest about Tahoe too. The transmission's a little sketchy on it too. So I'm not sure what we'll get for it or not, but we'll see what happens. We also have 2 drivers who are small vehicle drivers being trained to be a CDL. They should be finishing up possibly this week. They should be finishing up. They're done by DIA doing training down there. So that's what we have going there. I did put something online today, actually, just a little thing advertising for bus drivers. I can do the same thing for Aaron with facilities too. That's a link to the website that Kristen has that on the website too for bus drivers, small vehicle drivers, custodians, things like that. So that way. I know I mentioned this in study session, but I think it's worth looking at again. Success rates, student success rates in classes have improved dramatically. It's at the high school. Did multiple interventions from staff. The amount of students with a failing grade who moved up that went from like 55 to 19, which is very good. We honestly want to get to the 0, but that is growth and strength that way. So next slide there. Middle school, high school principal, Kevin is going to have some espresso sessions. Express your concerns to your dreams at the principal's open table. Those are the times. I put that on Facebook last week. I'll probably throw it on there again tomorrow or Thursday or sometime like that, just to remind people where they're meeting. And he just wants to just open table, no agenda, just whatever comes up in conversation. Him just reaching out to try to meet some people and get ideas of what's happening that way. Next one, emergency operations plan. I'll share that with board members that way too. It's all ready to go. It's not necessarily a public document, that way there are secret things in it that way, but we will share it with all of you so you can have a look at it. Aaron's worked in putting that together. Lori's helped with some formatting with it too. ECE update, I did ask Mitch, just for a general update where we're at. And I've talked to him in the past, just about things, been through a walk through there too. They are making progress, and once construction starts, The plan is to have monthly meetings once it actually gets going and things like that. So you know that's on my superintendent list, which I'll get to in a second. It's you know, they're just looking at finalizing the funding for it and everything like that. I'll put a document in the board notes this week for all of you that Mitch shared with me yesterday or the day before.
Can I ask a question? Are they on schedule?
They are, you know, they're planning to open up in 26, 27. I think what they wanted, I think they would have preferred to be started by now, but finance kind of held them back a little bit.
Okay.
But I think they are hopefully on schedule, or roughly, they're on schedule hopefully to open up in 26, 27. That's the plan.
I guess my question is more related to our contract
Yeah.
with them. Are they fulfilling the thresholds put forth?
Yes, because I reviewed that recently and made sure it was signed and things like that, and looked like we're in
On
proper
that
steps.
schedule?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and like I said, I think he really wanted to be in there and doing things, but just with things, they're a little behind in that regard, but I think they're still on schedule to open. First day of school, obviously, August 13th for students, just recognizing that. Next slide here, the student government for 25-26 at Clear Creek High School. Kind of see the student body president, Maggie, I'm not gonna read everybody, but student body president is gonna be Maggie Gothman. That was just, we kind of see that. And kind of the senior presidents, Elliot Dunbar. I'm not gonna read through everybody, but you can kind of see that. I thought that was nice to put out. And Tina, we talked about student board representatives in the study session. And I think that's part of that whole conversation possibly from what I talked with Tina about. And I'm sure I'll be meeting with the new superintendent tomorrow. We're meeting from 9 to 11 or something like that. And I have some things on there about student board rep in that regard to talk to that individual about and see where we're at. So I will fill that person in on that along with many other things. And that's all I had, I think. Eric, you mentioned abbreviated school. I think the day after that meeting, we got some from CD. And I'll put that in the notes this week too. I probably should have put it in last week, but we can either go with a policy or it doesn't have to be a policy. But we just need an awareness of what it is, and I'll explain that awareness
What are you
in
talking
notes
about?
this week. The abbreviated school day policy,
Oh, okay.
the policy that Eric talked about. It's just, and I'll explain that in writing a little bit. And it's just making sure that we're not just sending kids home to send kids home. Because, and that's a simple version of it, but that's kind of what it's making sure that we're providing an education, appropriate education to every student in that regard, so.
Kelly has something to add to the superintendent update.
I do. Dr. Meyer, we've been so pleased to have you
Oh,
be a
thank you.
steward of our district. It was shorter than we all wanted, but thank you for your
Thank
effort
you.
and your care.
All right.
We'll miss having you and hope that you might maybe miss us just a touch.
I will miss you.
Thank you for all of your.
Thank you.
All right, student board representative updates, seeing no representative, I'm guessing we're moving on to committee updates. Seeing no committee, Erin, do you have a committee?
Does Yoli,
Do we have anybody online with a committee update?
I can just do a quick DAC update, even though I wasn't at the meeting.
Okay.
Hunter his term is done and he's no longer the chair, but Alec Hub is the new chair.
And then now we're moving on to public comment. Anybody signed up?
No.
Thank you. Board business, discussion and possible action items, superintendent search update. We have in our board packet a resolution appointing a finalist as superintendent. I don't have it in front of me because I assume Kelly did. You know, this has been a process for us. We've done, you know, the community involvement and, you know, engaged our teachers and the parents and just, you know, all overall the community. But I would say that we are pleased to present this resolution to hire Wes Paxton as the next superintendent of the Clear Creek School District. Wes brings more than 2 decades of experience in public education, most recently serving as community superintendent for Jeffco Public Schools. His leadership has been marked by major capital improvements, expanded CTE and STEM offerings, and a strong focus on academic growth and community engagement. We were fortunate to have an outstanding pool of candidates, and I truly mean that. We really did have an outstanding pool. And after a thorough and collaborative process, Wes stood out for his vision, integrity, and clear readiness to lead our district. The board unanimously supports his appointment and extends our gratitude to the staff, students, and community members who offered thoughtful input throughout the search. We look forward to officially welcoming him to the district in the coming weeks.
Thank you, Carrie Ann. That was wonderful. And with that, I would like to move resolution number 2025-010, appointing a finalist as superintendent of Clear Creek School District. Whereas the Board of Education has considered the candidates included in district's list of finalists for the position of superintendent, and whereas the Board of Education has selected a finalist to appoint as superintendent, and whereas the board has declared its finalists at least 14 days before the Board of Education makes this appointment pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute Section 24-6-402 3.5. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Clear Creek School District, the following person is appointed to the position of superintendent for Clear Creek School District, Wesley Paxton, approved this 10th day of June, 2025.
There's a second. I'll second that.
Flanagan,
Yes.
Hague,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
McHugh,
Yes.
North.
Yes.
All right. Woo-hoo. All right, moving on to the Colorado School Finance Project 2025-2026.
Really just comes down to paying 40 cents a student for
I don't even
Colorado
think they
School
have a
Finance
student count, right?
Project for their work with us, $254. So we definitely
Entertain a
use
motion.
$254 worth.
Do we have to vote on it since it's?
It's kind of on the discussion possible action items. It's weird and different, but it is maybe different in that it is an expenditure that we didn't have slated before. I
We
guess I would.
paid for it every year. I don't actually think we need to do anything, and I worry about a precedent of approving $200 expenses, and if we are gonna have to continue to do that, then that will kill everyone.
Yeah, this is where we needed Kathleen. Was it always in the budget? And she's gonna say yes,
Mhm,
right?
she does.
So let's,
Always.
let's
Always.
just know that that was a
Yep.
discussion and an announcement and move
Yep.
on. All right.
I think that's right.
Discussion on amendments to resolution number 2019-1. So this is another one. We discussed it at length in the study session and have kind of hashed out the things there. So I don't think we need to repeat that. If anybody listening to this wants to go back to the study session, you can get all the nuts and bolts of that there through Erica's explanation of things. Is our great reader ready?
Yeah, and I think maybe before I move, I would just like to say that while this resolution has its independent name and title and number, it really is amending the resolution in 2019, which was the formation of our collective bargaining agreement with the teachers union, the Clear Creek County Education Association. And I just think it's important that we're not scrapping that, we're making some amendments. And with that, I would like to move resolution number 2025-11. Whereas the Board of Directors of Clear Creek School District RE1 values the contributions of all district employees. And whereas the board previously adopted procedures for the recognition of employee organizations to represent certain district employee groups for the purpose of engaging in collective bargaining and for the conduct of such collective bargaining. And whereas the recognition and bargaining procedure designated a recognized employee organization representing bargaining units consisting of certain A, classified employees, or the classified employees unit, and B, teachers and licensed employees, the teachers unit, together the bargaining units. And whereas the district deducts dues from the wages of district employees in the bargaining units who are members of the recognized employee organization or dues paying members and pays them to the recognized employee organization. And whereas the board believes that productive and fair collective bargaining requires A, personal participation in collective bargaining sessions by members of both bargaining units, and B, that a significant number of employees in both of the bargaining units are dues-paying members of the recognized employee organization or in organizations representing district employees in said bargaining units for the purpose of collective bargaining. And whereas the board wishes to modify its recognition and bargaining procedure to ensure that this is the case if collective bargaining in this district is to continue. Now therefore be it resolved that the recognition and bargaining procedure is modified as follows. Number 1, at least one member of the classified employees unit and at least one member of the teachers unit shall be present and participate on the recognized employee organization team in all collective bargaining sessions pursuant to the recognition and bargaining procedure. 2, effective October 13th, 2025 and continuing thereafter, unless the following statements are true, the recognition and bargaining procedure is automatically revoked. A, the number of dues paying members is at least 60% of the sum of the number of totals in both bargaining units. And at least 15% of the dues paying members comprising the 60% threshold are members of the classified employees unit. Such revocation shall not affect any then existing collective bargaining agreement negotiated pursuant to the recognition and bargaining procedure. Adopted and approved this 10th day of June, 2025.
I'll second.
Lori, before you call, let's just see if there's any other discussion. Jessica, I don't know that you were part of the study session in whole, so if there's any other discussion, now's the time. Okay, hearing no other discussion, thank you.
Flanagan,
Yes.
Haig,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
McHugh,
Yes.
North.
Yes.
All right, so moving on to budget approval.
Real quick point of order. I just realized in reading this that we don't have on our agenda to approve the CBA for this year. Do we have to? Wasn't that supposed to be on our agenda?
I don't know.
The CBA.
I guess I don't know what you're asking.
We're supposed to approve the contract that we agreed to with the 1% COLA, and that is
Oh,
not on our
gotcha.
agenda.
It's not on our agenda.
Sorry, I just
Yeah,
thought about that just now.
well, it's not like we can add it at this late time, so we're gonna have to look at a meeting
Yeah.
forward and getting a special meeting together to do that.
It could be a
And we
virtual.
can't do that here now.
Yeah, no, I know
Yeah.
I can't, but I just wanted to make sure we
Yeah,
don't
thank
lose
you.
that because we
Yeah.
do need to approve that
We do need to
contract,
approve
yes.
that.
Can that be a virtual?
Yes.
Yeah, sure, that can be a virtual, we can all just pop in and do that.
ASAP.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Now to budget approval.
Yes, sorry.
Okay, you're fine. Thank you.
So in our study session, we had a great presentation from Jen and Kathleen, really walking through the budget. This is our final meeting discussing the budget through some public engagement and different public meetings where we've discussed this. All of our questions have been answered. So I would like to move the adopted budget resolution 2025-008. Be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Clear Creek School District RE1 that the amounts shown in the following schedule be appropriated to each fund as specified as the proposed budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025 and ending June 30, 2026. General Fund, $16,718,247. Bond Fund, $4,365,880. Capital Reserve Fund, $1,872,753. Building Fund, $4,904,999. Grant Fund, $1,386,900. Food Service Fund, $511,219. Tuition Preschool Fund, $483,462. People Activity Fund, $618,888. Total, all funds, $30,862,348. Adopted and approved this June 10th, 2025.
One second.
Any other discussion?
Flanagan,
Yes.
Haig,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
McHugh,
Yes.
North.
Yes.
As a correlated resolution, we do have to authorize our beginning fund balance. This is required by Colorado statute. So I would like to move adopted budget resolution 2025-009, authorizing the use of a portion of beginning fund balance as authorized by Colorado statutes. Whereas Colorado Revised Statute, Section 22-44-105 states that a budget duly adopted pursuant to this article shall not provide for expenditures, inter-fund transfers, or reserves in excess of available revenues and beginning fund balance. Whereas the Board of Education may authorize the use of a portion of the beginning fund balance in the budget, stating the amount to be used, the purpose for which the expenditure is needed, and the district's plan to ensure that the use of the beginning fund balance will not lead to an ongoing deficit. Whereas the Board of Education has determined the beginning fund balances in the general fund, food service fund, bond fund, building fund, capital reserve fund, preschool tuition fund, and the student activity fund are sufficient to allow for the expenditures, and the action will not lead to an ongoing deficit. Now therefore be it resolved, in accordance with Colorado Revised Statutes 22-44-105, the Board of Education authorizes the use of a portion of the 2025-2026 beginning fund balance for the following funds. General fund in the amount of $154,254, building fund in the amount of $4,804,999, bond fund in the amount of $24,750, and the pupil activity fund in the amount of $5,000. Be it further resolved, the use of this portion of the beginning fund balance for the purposes set forth will not lead to an ongoing deficit. Adopted and approved this June 10th, 2025.
I'll second.
Any other discussion?
Flanagan,
Yes.
Hague,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
McCune,
Yes.
North.
Yes.
Okay, next on the agenda is the consent agenda.
Nope.
Long range plan.
Long range planning.
Sorry.
So we added item D5. We've talked quite a bit about the formation of the Long Range Planning Committee, and would really like to get this work going and try to solicit some participation and some applicants through the course of the summer to really take a good hard look at everything and provide some advice and suggestion to the Board of Education. And with that, I would like to move Clear Creek Board of Education Resolution 2025-007, the Clear Creek School District RE1 Long Range Planning Committee. Whereas the Board of Education of Clear Creek School District RE1 wishes hereby to establish an independent long-range planning committee under the following guidelines. A, name. The name of this committee shall be the Long Range Planning Committee. B, purpose. The purpose of the Long Range Planning Committee is to assist the Board of Education and the entire district in analyzing school district capital improvement needs for the short and long term. The responsibilities of the Long Range Planning Committee shall be to review the district physical plant, program capacity, enrollment, and major capital equipment requirements. Suggest what improvements to efficiency, sustainability, and infrastructure needs may be required in the future. Meet regularly with the district administration and board members to review their work on facilities and related items. The team would serve as an advisory to the Clear Creek School District Board of Education and would make recommendations for program needs and facility capital needs through a capital plan report. C, membership. The Long Range Planning Committee will represent a cross-section of the community, including taxpayers with and without children in the school system. It is anticipated that the voluntary committee would consist of 10 to 15 members and would include representation from a variety of areas, with some of the following categorical areas as potential contributors: architectural engineering, before or after care, construction, community at large, building principal, city and county representatives, recreation and parks, library, parents of elementary, middle, and high school students, district representatives, Board of Education representative. The application and appointment process will consist of interested members of the community submitting a letter of interest in serving on the committee, a commitment to serve at least 2 years, along with a brief resume of their credentials and qualifications. When a vacancy occurs, the Board of Education will solicit and approve new members. D, meetings. The Long Range Planning Committee will meet regularly, and specific times will be determined by members with input from the Board of Education. The Board of Education will review and approve full membership annually. If you are interested in the Long Range Planning Committee, please contact any of the following: Kelly Flanagan, board member at kelly.flanagan@ccsdre1.org, Carrie Ann McHugh, board member at carrieann.mchugh@ccsdre1.org, or Lori Heaney at the Clear Creek School District Office at lori.heaney@ccsdre1.org.
I'll second. Any other discussion?
Flanagan,
Yes.
Hague,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
McHugh,
Yes.
Norm.
Okay.
Yes.
Now consent agenda.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Flanagan,
Yes.
Hague,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
McHugh,
Yes.
Norm.
Yes.
I move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Flanagan,
Yes.
Hague, King,
Yes.
McHugh,
Yes.
Norm.
Yes.
Happy summer.
Happy summer. Have a great month.
Thanks to all of you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Tom.
all. Seriously, thank you very much. I appreciate the time. Sorry.
Thank you, Tom.
Did you
Thanks,
give me
Jessica.
all of these other resolutions to sign too?
Yes.
You already did, and I
Yeah,
gave them
you
back.
sign them all.
Okay.
That's the only one you have to sign.
Okay, done.